Joshua Cribbs turns disaster into a score!
Ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
Washed it down with 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey, a margarita, and a Bloody Mary. And I said, Stone Cold, why have one when you can have them both?
Swung in and drilled! Deep right center! Away back! Gone for Tony!
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up.
It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Awful.
How is she awful?
Hates freedom.
And now, Any Given Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Ward and Ethan Simpson.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup! Oh, blocked by James! LeBron James with the rejection!
Hello and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Any Given Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ethan Simpson, and once again, welcome back from the honeymoon across the internet. With me is
Brendan Ward. It is good to be back, Ethan. I cannot complain. It's been a long month, wedding, then honeymoon, and then just kind of waiting to get back at it. So I'm happy we're finally back at this and going. How you been, though? We haven't talked to you in about 2 or 3 weeks, too.
Yeah, I've been doing good. Just, busting out some promotions online, pumping out content. You know how it is.
I mean, in this world, that's what it's all about. So why not? But speaking of content, we're gonna go ahead and get into the content of Madden because yes, it is Madden season. Obviously, one of my favorite games, being with football being a major part of my life. I know you've sat down and cranked out some Madden. I've heard about your Washington football dynasty that you've kind of went pretty deep into. But today we're just kind of gonna get into the Madden 99 club. Usually Madden kind of makes a big deal out of it, sends these guys some different things, some cleats, I think they got a necklace one year. The one year they did like murals for announcement videos. This year they kind of just had people show up and present it. But this year there were only 4 players to get on the Madden 99 club. That is offensive tackle Trent Williams from the San Francisco 49ers, wide receiver Davante Adams, who recently was traded to the Las Vegas Raiders, Myles Garrett, yes, defensive end for the Cleveland Browns. That's a big one right there. And then Aaron Donald, which is probably the least surprising of the 4, from the Los Angeles Rams. I think he's been 99 for the last 3 years. So that's not surprising. Biggest question here from me to you is Madden getting a little strict with their kind of voting? Like, I know they haven't kind of blown the roof off the place with 10 or more 99 players, but I feel like 4 is a smaller number or a number that's on the smaller side of the spectrum for players to get 99, especially when you have people that can argue that Myles Garrett may not be the best defensive end in football, or even that Davante Adams or Trent Williams may not be the best at their position either.
Well, for the people that say, hey, maybe Myles Garrett isn't the best defensive end in football, I would tell them, why don't you get your head out of your tookish and watch a game for me one time?
Well,
and that's not me. That's not me being a Browns fan. That's not me being a Browns fan. That's me watching football and watching the freak of nature that Myles Garrett is. TJ Watt's great. Don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic player. He set the sack record last season.
Yeah.
He's the top sack. He has the most sacks in the NFL last season. I think the season before that. Fantastic player, even though he's a Schittsburg squealer. But come on. Myles Garrett is a freak of nature. We've all seen the videos of him working out. You've seen his plays. It's all over Sports Center. It's all over Fox Sports. It's all over NFL Network. Come on. That is any given 99 right there.
I agree with you. I would say that 80% of the people that are griping about Myles Garrett getting this 99 and saying that he may not be the best defensive end in football are the people that are yinzers and think that TJ Watt's actually a defensive end. And, those yinzers don't matter anyway. So why are we going to even talk about them?
Exactly.
But yeah, TJ Watt's an outside linebacker, by the way, people. Also, if you really want to look at the ratings, he's the top rated outside linebacker in the game. So be happy with it. Like you said, hell of a player, sack record. Just sucks that he's playing in Pittsburgh. In other kind of trending news, to move away from football before we get back into football a lot later, because we have a ton in football to talk about after a while. Go ahead. What you got?
One more thing. I'm sorry to cut you off. You said about Madden kind of getting stricter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting stricter with the 99 club, but look how many other guys are 98, 97, 96, 95, So those guys are still up there. They're still stacking guys up there. They're just not putting them to 99.
Yeah, they put they were just like, these are the above and beyond guys. Let's go ahead and give it to them. But you're right. There's so many above 95 guys now that they're just didn't used to be. It's kind of their built-in system to be able to only give 4 99s out.
Yeah, so ultimately you start a franchise with one of those teams and you play one or two games, and you practice that guy. He makes one big hit, he's going up to 99. So that's their way of not over flooding the 99 and being like, hey, look, it's still hard to get in, but these guys are going to get in there anyway.
Well, yeah, and then they do the roster updates where those 98s, after they have a good week, are going to be 99s anyways in the game, just because Madden does it, not even that the Dynasty mode does it. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. Play it for one game. Get TJ Watt a sack. He's automatically a 99 outside linebacker. You get Aaron Rodgers 4 or 5 touchdowns in a game. He's all of a sudden going to be a 99 quarterback. But I'm looking forward to Madden. I haven't played too many video games in a while. We're starting to get the apartment set up, so eventually the Xbox is going to get set up, and I might start cranking some stuff out when I got some free time. When Heidi goes back to work, I'm going to be sitting here alone doing nothing, and I can only work so much for T. So we'll see what happens. So back to kind of the other news that we have trending. Serena Williams, who is arguably the greatest of all time in women's tennis, definitely has surpassed her counterpart Venus, her sister, I should say, in terms of career accolades and stuff like that. I know as recently Serena hasn't kind of been at the top of her game, and she says that's because she is very close to calling it a career, just simply because it's time for her to step away from the game, be a mother, live her life, things like that, and she really wants to focus on some other things aside from tennis. You would think that opens the door up for people like Osaka to kind of take over, but she's also kind of taking a step back from the game. But there are a lot of young women's tennis players that can. Coco Gauff, one that seemingly looks like she's gonna end up being pretty good in her career, and may take over that mantle for Serena. Kudos to Serena for having the career that she did. I still haven't watched the King Richard documentary with Will Smith on HBO. I will get around to that because it's something I'm very interested in seeing. But what do you think about Serena Williams kind of saying that it's not over yet, but it's getting there?
I would just first like to say that is a biopic, not a documentary.
Gotcha. It is. It's
okay.
You're
I
absolutely.
Just want to clarify.
You're absolutely
out there.
correct. There's actors in it and stuff like that. It's not just documentary filming. I gotcha.
Yeah, because you have some film critics out there. You have some movie buffs, who would definitely like to let you know in the comments that that is a biopic and not a documentary. A documentary is real events with real footage.
By all means,
Biopics are actors playing real events.
By all means, this clip could end up on TikTok. Give me the views. Come at me in the comments, please.
Oh, absolutely.
Do it.
But back to Serena, back to reality. And Serena, yeah, obviously Serena is one of, if not the best women's tennis player, just because of her pure strength and athleticism. And on top of that, like you were bringing up Venus, her and Venus, those two sisters going out there, I mean, they ran women's tennis for 15 years. As long as I can remember, they were running tennis when I was in elementary school.
Well, I was going to say, I would even say that people our age only really know women's tennis because of those two women.
Yeah, and Maria.
Yeah. Exactly.
I used to have that Sports Illustrated Maria poster in my room.
I can understand why. So, and I'll leave it at that.
Still can't pronounce her last name.
I'll leave it at that. The ring says don't say too much more. but we'll leave it at that. Let's go ahead and get into some local stuff. We haven't really got into it. I've wanted to talk about it for a while. Like if you listen to the show, you know we haven't been on here for a while. But a couple weeks back, the Cleveland Cavaliers got a uniform repackaging. 3 new uniforms. A white one that's got the new net logo. That's just we'll get into it. Then a red one that we'll also get into, and then a black one that kind of vaguely imitates the jerseys that they won the finals in, but not quite exactly. The black one's actually a Jordan jersey, which is a little different, but I think Jordan did everybody's I don't know what they call them. Do they call them city editions? Is that what they call them? Yeah. So I'm a big fan of the black one. I haven't always been a fan of their black ones. I also like the white one pretty much. I'm a fan of all the shorts, but the red one, in terms of like the jersey, not the biggest fan of. It just seems very plain to me. It seems very kind of just, we needed a red uniform. That's it.
Well, essentially what they're doing here. So this red one is essentially the same wine and gold one that they wore during their run with LeBron, and right before LeBron came back when they first got Kyrie. They just switched it up to where it's updated with the new font, and so I'm pretty sure what they were doing is sticking with that and just updating that one.
I gotcha.
Which, like you said, it's a basic jersey. I like it, but then again, I liked those ones when they first came out with them. Yeah. So that could just be me.
I don't necessarily hate the thing. I just think if you look at the other two, like you said, it's very basic compared to the other two. Honestly, the shorts are where it's at for me. When I looked at the shorts, I wanted all 3 pairs. I want to put all 3 pairs and wear all 3 pairs.
Absolutely.
Of the shorts. They're awesome.
Yeah, I would be like the guy that was outside of Tropicana Field a few months ago.
Full LeBron garb?
Yeah, except I would probably be in full Jared Allen or Darius Garland garb.
Yeah. That's the way to go, right?
Probably Jared Allen, because I would throw in the headband.
There you go. Just kind of full on lean into it. Jared Allen, Darius Garland, you can't go wrong with either of them. They just paid DG, so that's pretty good.
Sorry to cut you off here. The C one you were talking about, that one, clearly, I think everybody understands why they kept that design.
Yeah.
That's the one That's the jersey they wore when they won the championship. All they did was take off the sleeves.
They took off the sleeves and they got rid of that like weird tire lining thing that they had on it. And that's what makes it for me. I really like the black jersey now because they got rid of that stupid ass tire lining.
Yeah. And for a second, when they first came out with those sleeves, I was like, oh, the sleeves, those kind of look cool. Probably about the third game, and when LeBron got so furious, he ripped them apart, ripped them off. I was like, okay, I understand. This is stupid. Why are they wearing T-shirts in the NBA?
Right?
What is this? Is this a European league or something? So I get what they're doing there, and then with the white ones are fire because they have that Cavs logo with the net, and it's the white and gold, which this is another fantastic concept that they came up with because the gold that they use, they went from the yellow gold to an actual metallic gold color.
Yeah.
The same color that the Larry O'Brien trophy is. And they narrowed the V, so now the V looks like the Larry O'Brien trophy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't quite notice that the V looked like it, but I knew that that's the gold they went with.
Yeah, they narrowed it in. So if you look at the other ones, the Cavs V is a lot wider than that.
Yeah.
Not a lot wider, but
it makes a difference.
Yeah, so and then obviously they used the Cavs. They mixed the old Cavs from the 90s one and then put it in with the new font that they're using. So their whole concept here is past, present, and future. And the reason they changed the gold is because it's the gold standard, and that is every season that's what they play for. So why not wear it? Wear what you're going after. Right. I love it. I think the whole concept's great. You have people like Daryl Ryder, our guy Daryl Ryder. Look, Daryl, I love you, buddy, but your take on these jerseys, absolutely horrible. Because you're sitting there trashing these Cavs jerseys and this new Cavs logo, but yet you are loving and blowing that garbage Guardian G, flying G with the wings and that bent C. Not even bent, just kind of pointed. Come on now. If you like those and don't like these, you're crazy. You need to get a new prescription for your glasses there, Daryl, because it looks like that one's outdated. Because these are fire flames. Love them. Loves what the Cavs are doing.
The only thing I don't like about that white one, before we move on, is the sponsorship on it. In the other two, the sponsorship, the colors in it reflect the jerseys. So the Cliffs in the black one is black and gold. The Cliffs in the red one is red and gold. But the Cliffs on the white one is not white and gold. It's like blue and green. And it throws off the shoulder a little bit.
Is it green? Is it green or is that orange? It's not zooming in.
It's definitely green.
Green. Okay, yeah, that's weird. If they did like a blue and orange just on that, maybe you could sneak that in because it's white and gold.
Yeah, and the orange kind of blue and orange odes to the 90s anyways.
Yeah.
So you're still sticking with that. You could get away with that and have it stand out a little bit, but I think you should just do what you did with the other ones and kind of keep it color-coded with the jersey. But we're going to go ahead and get into the Guardians since you brought them up. Franmil Reyes is arguably, coming into this year, the only non-Jose Ramirez named player that 75% of the general public could name. A guy who has been their power hitter for 2 years now, and in 2019 had 37 home runs, 2021 had 30 home runs. You even wrote on here that he had a career high 85 RBIs last year. Now, he did struggle this year a little bit, but the Guardians decided to designate Franmil Reyes for assignment, and it bit them in the ass quick. Going straight to the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah. So let me start here with what you started with. Franmil Reyes, one of the notable Cleveland baseball team players, right?
Yeah.
Power hitter. He came over in the trade with
Naylor.
Sunshine.
Oh, Clevenger.
It was with Clevenger, right?
They traded Clevenger, yeah, but we got back Naylor and Quantrill and Hedges.
Gotcha.
Well, Cleveland got back. So, but yeah, it was in that same trade.
All right. But anyway, still, he came in, the big bat that we have been dying for since Carlos Santana left the first time.
Yeah.
So we finally get a big bat that can fit there. Big guy, can play first, can play the outfield, and can DH. We have Josh Naylor. Don't really need him at first base. Sorry, they have Josh Naylor. They don't need him at first base. They have other outfielders. They brought up Stephen Kwan and other guys. So right now they just need him as a bat.
Yeah.
So perfect. That's what he's here for. 6'5", right? Can smash the ball all the way to East 4th Street. Okay, he's slumping this year. He's having a bad season. So instead of sending him down to Columbus for a month or two to get his head right, get his swing right, focus on everything, get back to the basics, then come back up, they designate him for assignment. So they DFA the guy who is 27 years old, a big bat, a proven big bat. He's proven that he can play. They get rid of him. They don't even try to put him on the market. They just get rid of him instead of trying to build his confidence and his swing and his timing back up. How many times as Cleveland fans have we seen these teams do this? And then they hold on to players who should have been gone 3 years ago. It's ridiculous how they do this. He got picked up the same day he was designated. The Cubs picked up his contract.
I mean, kudos.
I wonder why.
Kudos to them, right? As much as we hate the Cubs, kudos to them. Like you said, a big, young, proven slugger in Major League Baseball. And they were just like, here, whoever wants him can have him.
Right. Whatever. We don't want him. We have Stephen Kwan. Did you know he went on a hit streak this year?
Yeah, to start the season. What has he done since?
Did you guys know that he went on a hit streak? Because I tweeted out, just watch. Before the All-Star game, probably in mid-June, this streak's going to be over, and you're not going to hear his name again.
Honestly, I remember you talking on this show when we first started talking about Kwan, about how, he'll slow down and you'll never hear about him again. Guess what? Yeah. Month into the season, he slowed down, and where the hell has he been since?
They tossed him away.
Exactly.
The media did. The sports media and the fans did, because that's what they love to do. And that's one of the things that drives me insane about Cleveland sports. And this goes back to the whole, they're still in touch with the Franmil thing. You can't send that guy down. You let him go like that.
Bench him.
Right?
If you gotta send a message, sit him on the bench. Like you said, send him to Columbus so he can play some inferior talent and get that confidence back. Hell, if you gotta send him to Akron, send him to Akron.
Send him to Akron. I'll be in Akron every home game.
Right? If Franmil is in Akron, I'd be there too. That's out 40, 50 minutes away. That'd be awesome.
Right? I could probably throw a baseball into Canal Park from my house.
Probably.
Not really, but it's pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Hey, Canal Park's a great stadium to go to.
Oh, I know.
27th of July.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by that stadium. I had never been there before. It was just an awesome experience. Baseball in person overall is just an awesome experience, but Canal Park really stood out to me in terms of ballparks that I've been to.
Yeah, and it's right there on the canal too. I wish you could see it. I wish that, so it'd be kind of like almost like PNC Park or up in San Francisco, but it is just a little canal, so it doesn't really make a difference.
You still get kind of the city portion of Akron in that background. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah, you just right on Exchange Street and stuff. You're right in the heart of downtown. Lock 3s.
Yeah.
Literally 2 steps away. Then you have the Akron Civic Theater. Akron University is right there. It is a nice little area they have down there. I do enjoy that part of Akron. As you know, I'm just a kid from Akron.
Yep.
Our boy LeBron James.
Exactly. Looking forward to visiting the Akron Civic Theater, by the way. T got me and Heidi some tickets to see Tim Hawkins there. He's like a Christian comedian.
Yeah.
I seen that they were having him, so I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, we got anything to do with this show?" Next email was the lady giving me tickets. I was like, "Oh, sweet."
Hey, there you go. You know what? And that seems like a fun family event for you too.
That it definitely earned me some brownie points, and I can't even if it's a Christian comedian, I'm sure he's got to be somewhat funny. He's made a lot of money.
Right, and I guarantee they throw in something a little flavor on that.
It's got to toe the line. You hear that, right? That's what comedians do. That's what comedians do.
Right. Yeah. So, all around, nice area. I would go and see, like I was saying, before we started, we should work for the Chamber of Commerce for Akron or something like that. The way that we're hyping up this city. Jeez Louise, you would have thought I was born there.
Well, that's that kind of 2-mile radius right there. The rest of the city's shit.
Right, and then once you get away from that area, then it's the rich neighborhood. It's any kind of like bigger city. You know, it's always like they're always like that because it's a mix of all different types of people and economic status and personalities and whatnot. So you get that no matter where you go. But I would definitely go see Franmil if he was playing there. They would get my $22 a ticket. I'd go see quite a few games there, and I would definitely try to get some kind of on-field access to do some interviews with him.
You may already have a hat though for his new team.
That is true.
He may end up being a Tennessee Smoky for a minute.
Yeah. I wish I had it in reaching distance.
Right? Yeah. I had to throw the thrusters on one today just to make sure, for the show. I don't know if I've worn it on the show yet.
I should have tossed it on. I was thinking about it actually a couple days ago when we were supposed to do this show before the storm hit. But yeah, so that's what I have for the MLB. Oh, Juan Soto goes to the Padres.
Oh, yeah.
How long, over under, do you think he'll spend the rest of this season and next season on the IL?
Do you want the number in months or games?
Weeks. Or months. Months is fine.
4 months.
In total.
Yeah.
Because there's something about that Padres team. There is that bad voodoo curse over whoever comes there.
Well, and I was going to say that. This Padres team is going to have to blow up at some point. And the reason I say that is because of exactly what you just said. They keep bringing in and paying for these guys, and they just end up on IL. and they just end up underachieving. So how long? San Diego has not always been a team that just throws money away. In fact, for a while there, they might have been considered a small market team. So when my question is when does this team blow up?
Who knows?
What's that, Tatis?
That's Tatis. He's on the IL. I mean, no wonder they had to make all that. I couldn't believe they were getting rid of guys. They were offering guys up. That's insanity with how many injuries are there.
Right. When I knew Soto was going somewhere, but when it happened to be the Padres, I was completely surprised. I didn't think they were going to start throwing. Because, I'll admit it, I haven't paid that much attention to baseball, but they aren't at the top. They aren't contenders right now. I know like they hope to be at some point, but right now they aren't. And like you said, he's got a year and a half on his contract. He also didn't just sign with the Nationals. He's looking for big money. Are the Padres going to give him that? Probably not. So they just gave up a lot for maybe a year and a half of Juan Soto.
Yeah, I like Josh Bell. I think he's a pretty good player. I think they gave up 4 guys for Soto, or 5. I think they gave up 3 prospects: Josh Bell and Stephen Voigt.
I'm pretty sure it's Voigt and Bell. I didn't know the 3 prospects though.
Yeah, I think they sent 3 prospects over as well. So they're dishing it out.
I mean, they gave up 4 for Clevenger.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, hopefully, I guess it works out for him. I don't really care for California baseball teams. That's just me.
Not a single one of them.
For my buddy Kyle's sake, who lives out there, I guess. I hope they're fun to watch. He doesn't really give a shit about baseball, but something to talk about, right? Who knows?
Exactly. Who knows what kind of is going through the Padres GM's mind? And also, did you see the Tigers fired their GM today?
I did not.
Yeah, I just remembered it. I got a Bleacher Report thing. His name's Alex Avila, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they fired him today.
Used to play for him.
Okay. Like for real? Like in Ravenna or in Kent?
No. He used to play for him.
Oh, I thought you said I used to play for him. I was like, oh, damn.
No.
Look at Ethan having some connections. But yeah, Alex Avila used to play for the Tigers.
I did. You know what? I did play for one of the coaches of the Tigers. The Twinsburg Tigers. Don Jones was my coach for quite a few years. He is now in the Ohio Baseball Hall of Fame.
I mean, that's a good place to be if you're out here coaching for Twinsburg. So why not?
Speaking of the Cubs, one of his players got drafted this year. No, got called up. He was on the opening day roster this year. A pitcher.
That's awesome. I always like seeing local guys get their spot. I was a big fan of Ryan Rua, and that was just because he's from Amherst, right down the road from me.
Gotcha.
One of the few guys from Amherst High School that have made it. We talk about Anthony Hitchens all the time. We went to the same school. I like seeing local guys make it. But let's go ahead and get into football, man. We're almost 3/4 of the way through the show, and we haven't even talked about football. And it's definitely our meatier subject. So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce the first 2, just because I feel like you're going to do them better justice than me. So I'm going to pass it off to you. Let me know about Aaron Rodgers and his, I guess you can call them fun time activities.
Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers, while on a podcast, I believe earlier this week or last week, or over the weekend. You know what? I don't have that up.
I'm pretty sure it was last week because he did part of my take this weekend.
Yeah. So it wasn't part of my take. He was on another one.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how in Peru he drank ayahuasca. For people that don't know what ayahuasca is, it is a hallucinogenic. Obviously, it opens up the fifth wall, in the third eye. You start seeing life in perspective from different angles. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know what DMT is like or anything like that, but from what I've read and everything like that, you open up this different realm. DMT is naturally released in your brain. So actually, you know what? Technically, every single human being knows what DMT is like because the compound is released in your brain. It's the dreaming molecule. It's the dreaming chemical. Yeah. So it makes you dream.
So he's pretty much dreaming while awake.
Yeah. So pretty much that's what it is. And he said he reflected on some things. It helped unlock some things that helped him with self-love, with what else did he say? Self-love, his mental health, things like that. And he was saying that his teammates should be happy, not happy that he did this, but, you know, because him loving himself will help him love other people more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, pretty much just saying he did this for not only a spiritual, but a mental health gain, which that's what everybody says. It helps regulate your thinking and opens up that third eye. So he did that. He talks about it, which, like I said, from what a lot of people have said, that's a pretty crazy and mind-opening thing. Yeah. And a lot of people are pissed off about that because they want to bring up Josh Gordon and Calvin Ridley and all these other guys. Calvin Ridley got in trouble for gambling. Josh Gordon got busted for smoking weed how many times? And the weed was just the tip of the iceberg for Josh Gordon.
Yeah, that wasn't even the problem there.
Yeah, he's admitted that there was so much more than just weed that he was doing. I mean, he talked about even being back at Baylor and having to be stoned and drink and do all that stuff before even getting on the field.
Yeah, he couldn't even step on the field without doing a couple lines.
Yeah, so he had a lot more issues there. So everybody wants to say, well, why isn't Aaron Rodgers? And then people started turning this into a race thing, saying it was because Aaron Rodgers is a white quarterback, just coming up with all these different scenarios. The fact of the matter is the NFL came out and said that, well, ayahuasca and DMT are not on our banned substance list.
Pretty much.
It's not on there. And people are like, well, it should be. It's illegal. He should be thrown in jail for doing it, which is crazy that people are saying this, that he should be thrown in jail. But they're saying, well, he should be thrown in jail for it. And then it's like, well, he didn't do it on U.S. soil. He did it in Peru, where it was legalized.
Yeah.
Just all around kind of a strange situation there for a guy just trying to better his mental health and all around self-care. But
well, Andy jumped through all the hoops to make sure he was doing it legally.
Yeah, he went to where it was legal. He didn't do it in the States. He didn't buy it from a dealer or black market or from someone who tried to make it in their basement or something. He did it the right way, and people are pissed about it. I don't know. I personally could give a rat's ass.
Right?
Whether he did it or not, that's fine, dude. As long as you can go out and compete and it doesn't affect you in any way, that's cool. Whatever. Fine. As long as you're happy and healthy, man, whatever. Enjoy it.
The biggest thing for me with all of that, and I know a lot of people want to make it about race, and I'm not going to get into that. So many people are on record saying how easy it is to cheat the NFL's drug testing system. Aaron Rodgers obviously knew, let's do it in the offseason. They're not going to test me.
Right.
Josh Gordon said, screw it, I'm going to do it anyways. And that's what it boils down to for me. Josh Gordon does not get to play a card that he should get to play just because he blatantly didn't abide by the rules that were set forth. And I know weed is no longer on the banned substance list, but he also knew he was in that program. He knew if the NFL wanted to, they could pop him every single day. And still chose to do some of the things he was doing. Shoot, the last time Josh Gordon got busted, he was here in Lorraine the day before Cleveland kicked him off the team and he ended up in New England. Like, he just made dumb decisions. Aaron Rodgers did it on his own time. Knew he wouldn't fail a drug test. He probably still won't fail a drug test. He went to Peru to do it legally. It has nothing to do with the color of his skin. I'm always one to sympathize with when people play the race card, because there are certain times where it needs to be played, but this one is definitely one where you're just playing it to play it.
Yeah, and it's not in his system when they test him. It's not like he's had any type of issues with substance abuse
At all.
that Josh Gordon had.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to. And I have no problem with people smoking weed. Legalize it, dude.
I don't care
Legalize
what
it,
they
bro.
do. I don't care
Right?
what they do, but honestly, like, jobs are going to have rules. If T came to me today and was like, you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't do anything, okay, can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't do it anyways, but if he made it a rule, obviously I can't do it. If I got to submit to drug testing, obviously I can't do any of that stuff. I lose my job. It's the end all be all. The NFL has a system in place. Rodgers abides by that when he has to. If he wants to do DMT in his own time, he does it in his own time, and I can't say anything about it. So what's this Von Miller thing? Because I know nothing about it.
Oh, so the Von Miller thing. Von Miller at training camp made a comment to the media about the quality of the toilet paper they have at the facility. And in true Bills fashion, fans will not stop sending toilet paper to the facility, will not stop showing up to camp with toilet paper and trying to give it to Von Miller and members of the coaching staff, just the staff all around, and other players. And that's their problem, which, to think about, that is kind of a good sign that people are able to buy so much toilet paper and send it to an NFL player. Because think about 2 years ago.
Not so long ago.
Right. Even a year ago, people were having trouble getting toilet paper.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a good thing. That shows that everything's kind of evening out. That now there's so much toilet paper, you can just send it to an NFL player who complained about, some some schoolhouse toilet paper. Because we all had those. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That public school toilet paper
Von Miller
and paper towels.
He got sick of his finger slipping through the thing, and he had to ask the fans for some Charmin Ultra Soft or something.
Right, that 0.2 ply.
Right. Oh, it's the worst. It's like when you're traveling and you got to go at the travel center or something, and you have no choice but to drop it. And you gotta pull out a mile's worth of toilet paper just so you could fold it over 15 times, just so it's the same ply as a 1-ply toilet paper that you can get from the regular store. I don't even know why they sell it like that, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like going into your kitchen and getting some wax paper. Not even wax paper is thicker than that.
Wax paper is for sure thicker than that crap.
That's like getting a dry leaf.
That's like getting some of those, like, those like sheets of paper that have the 3 sheets and you write on the top one and it shows up on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like taking that middle yellow piece that's real thin so it can get to the pink piece and using that to wipe. It's the worst, man. As a fellow connoisseur of good toilet paper, I get it, Don. I get it for sure.
And that's one of those things that has to do with, that Midwest football mentality. I know some people will be like, well, it's Buffalo. They're not really Midwest. Come on now. Buffalo's right there on the Great Lake. It's right on Erie with us. It's how far away from Cleveland. It's a Midwest city. It gets hit by snowstorms just like us. And the fans are crazy just like us Cleveland fans and all the other Midwest fans that show up in the middle of a blizzard. And they show up at 8 a.m. to go tailgate and jump through tables. And, well, not anymore, but, before the last previous years, and watch their team get their ass kicked.
Bills fans be shoveling the field for their team.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But also, how about the Bills for not spending a little extra cash on some toilet paper?
Yeah, kind of strange. Maybe they maxed out all the money that they had on that stadium, and they didn't want to piss off the taxpayers anymore.
They definitely maxed out the credit card on the red paint for that new helmet.
Oh, yeah. All they had left.
Yeah, everything they had left went to the red paint for that new helmet.
Hey, let me tell you what, that is a slick going back to those old school.
Might as well, right? Because like you said, it's a fire-ass helmet.
Yeah. If I wasn't such a diehard Browns fan, I would definitely dabble up there in Buffalo.
Josh Allen certainly makes you want to, right?
Oh, my goodness. I've talked about the comparisons that I think the one backup in Kansas City has to him. Just a great all-around quarterback. Somebody you would love to have on your team.
I'm like you said, I'm hoping he learns from him a couple of years and then gets his shot, man, because I think he's going to take off.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to beat out 15. They owe 15 too much money.
No.
Yeah.
The only way he goes in is if 15
goes down.
And then Chad goes down.
Nah, yeah. I think he could play over Chad. But 15, he's going to be hard to play. It's going to be hard to play over just because they owe that man $50 million a year.
Right. I would love to see a little Flash Fast in Arrowhead.
Well,
the Native Americans look at what is at the top of most of their totem poles. It's an eagle.
Exactly.
Flash Fast, baby.
I'm excited.
Always on the hunt.
I'm excited to see what Schlee does in that fast flash offense this year.
Yeah, that is gonna be a fun time. Speaking of that, we'll talk after the podcast a little more about our conversation we had the other day.
Right.
But that's
yeah, we should probably get into Kyler Murray instead of the Kent State Golden Flashes, shouldn't we?
It's easy to get into him. I told you, once you get in, you're hooked, man.
You are, man. Shoot, I went for 1 year and then got away from him for a while, and then you brought me right back in, didn't you? And by the way, we'll talk about it later, but I've already got the go-ahead to cover all the games. So we're good there. But Kyler Murray, I'll go ahead and cover this one. A little short old Kyler Murray gets his contract after kind of complaining. 5 years, $230 million. That's slightly less than Deshaun Watson's guaranteed. And the only reason it's less is because Deshaun's is fully guaranteed. Kyler Murray gets a $29 million signing bonus. He averages $46 million a year. He's $160 million guaranteed. But the biggest thing to talk about is the clause in the contract that they originally put in there that said that Kyler Murray needed to spend 4 hours a night studying game film. To me, it seemed like Arizona knew who they had at quarterback and decided to make sure that he did his film study rather than play video games or something. However, the internet is king, and they definitely bullied the Arizona Cardinals into dropping that contract clause.
I mean, so wild that the internet and people that don't live in Arizona, they're nowhere near Glendale. They're nowhere near the Phoenix area. They don't even watch NFL football.
Most of them were
And
probably Sooners fans.
They could be Sooners fans, yeah. But they see this and they get mad. And they don't just get mad, they get upset. They get extremely upset about a guy they've never met before.
Right?
Who is getting paid millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to fucking watch 4 hours of tape a week. That's insanity that you're upset about that.
He should be anyways, right?
Yeah. This just says, all right, we're guaranteed. They could punk him out like they did to Jamarcus Russell.
Right?
I hope they do. And it'll be like, oh, there's nothing on this. And they'll be like, actually, there was. You just didn't watch the goddamn tape. Okay. You know, we're going to deduct X amount from your paycheck or something. Because that is so insane that it's just 4 hours of tape a week. That, I mean, how is he not just already watching that? I don't know. Maybe he's not like me, but I would be. You know, I work on Photoshop and editing and stuff when I don't have to, just to keep up all my skills.
Yeah.
I think everybody does stuff like that when they don't have to. He essentially is doing what I said in high school about homework. He's saying, if I'm getting all A's and B's and C's sometimes on the tests and quizzes, then why should I have to do homework if I'm proving that I know this? And it's like, okay, hey, I get that point, right? But, I mean, how are you not just trying to at least get a little more prepared? And I wasn't getting paid to go to school, all right? I had to go to school.
I was going to say, you were also not a $230 million quarterback.
Right? I was 15 and 16 years old, like, well, this is stupid. Right? I wasn't a 24, 25-year-old guy who has however many millions of dollars on the plate and just like, well, I don't want to do this. It makes no sense. But he got his way. He got the internet to literally bully an NFL franchise into taking that out of a legal document.
Just wild, man, when you think about it, because it's just exactly an NFL franchise got bullied into taking out part of a contract that they sat for. These things don't happen overnight. That thing was probably proposed 6 months ago. Kyler knew it when he signed it. He knew it was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like you said, how is he not already watching 4 hours of game film as an NFL quarterback? And I'm going to go back to your grade thing, your reference about the homework, and if you're already getting A's and B's, why should you have to do homework? Okay, let's take that and put it on Kyler. Is Kyler getting A's and B's? Or is he more of a C student? Kyler is, I'll give him credit, he's good. Kyler is not great. Kyler hasn't won a division. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
You got to keep studying, man.
No, I get it. And here's the thing. With my grades, if they wouldn't have looked at the homework aspect of it, I would have been an AB student, except for math. Math sucks. I hate math. That's a known thing. I've been saying that since I was like 5 years old. I hate math. Only type of math I like is counting numbers, as in dollar signs, views, stuff like that. Other than that, math sucks. Exactly. But what they did was, with the homework, I was a C student then, because they deducted points for that and it took down my grade. That doesn't happen because that with football, that happens because other players aren't playing the way they should. Their cornerbacks, their safety, their secondary, their linemen, their defensive backs, their wide receivers, guys like that aren't pulling their weight. So obviously I get too that if Kyler isn't doing it, then why should I? That's probably what they're trying to avoid there too.
Yeah.
But it just, the simple fact of the matter is this guy's getting paid millions of dollars and bitching about 4 hours of tape a week. Just so ridiculous, so stupid that it shouldn't even be a conversation. Just one of those dumb things. This goes back to like the Tommy Pham fight or the Will Smith slap. It's just so goddamn stupid that people, this is what they're fixated on.
Right, that anybody even gave a shit about it is wild.
Yeah,
but
ridiculous.
Do you want to get into the wild offseason that has been the Cleveland Browns?
Absolutely, the clown show. I feel like I should get my Joker face back on to talk about this.
All right, so before we get into Deshaun Watson, we're going to go ahead and talk Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, if I'm not mistaken, just signed a deal prior to last season for obviously it wasn't that good of money, but he was coming from some circumstances that he's lucky he was even playing, to be honest. But he's played well, and he's been very good for the Browns. But seemingly out of nowhere, Kareem Hunt decides that it's time to give the Browns an ultimatum. New deal or trade me? The Browns said no. It was reported that Kareem Hunt was kind of going to be sitting out of practice. You say that he did show up for team drills the other day. So my biggest question is why now for Kareem Hunt, and what do the Browns do from here?
So this is just outside speculation, of course, but what I really think is Kareem's seeing everybody else get paid, right? And I think the big thing, too, is he just saw this giant, massive contract given to his quarterback, who, as we'll get into it in a second, has a suspension right now, but could possibly miss a whole season. And so he's seeing this, and he's seeing all around the league all these guys getting paid. And he's like, all right, I'm a top 15 running back, top 30 running back, whatever. I could be starting somewhere else for big cash. Either I want to secure that I'm in Cleveland and I'm getting paid good,
yeah,
or I want to go somewhere where I'm the number one running back and I'm getting this big contract because I'm running this whole team. I'm not just the number two in the 1-2 combo. That's what I think he's worried about. What he's worried about is being replaced or just let me rephrase this. You know what I'm saying? Playing this season, and then they'll see somebody else with the same kind of potential he has in the draft or in free agency, pick him up, and then he's SOL.
Well, I think the narrative for this one has always been that Kareem Hunt's probably got one more year in Cleveland. He plays well this year, and then he gets the big contract elsewhere. Like you said, it just seems like he's jumping the gun because he wants his money now. He wants to feel secure, and I can't blame the guy for that, I guess. As a Browns fan, you kind of get into it and you think, you think, what the hell? But I agree with you. It's Kareem Hunt is not a number 2 running back. He is one of the top 30 running backs in the NFL. Anywhere else, he's the starting guy. He just happens to be under the guy who might be the second or third best running back in the league. And that's depending on who you say is number 1. If you say it's Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry, I'll give you that. Hell, if you say it's Nick Chubb, I'll give you that one. That's why I said he's 2 or 3. So Kareem Hunt just ended up in Cleveland, where Nick Chubb just ended up being the guy. So like I said, I can't really blame him for this. If he's got to go elsewhere to get paid, then he's got to go elsewhere to get paid. Because you brought up replacement. Cleveland does have Demetric Felton. They do have a guy they just drafted in Jerome Ford, who was one of the top running backs in all of college football last year. There are certainly guys on this roster that seemingly are coming for Kareem Hunt's job. And what if that happens? What happens to Kareem Hunt after this? He, like you said, it's all about security for Kareem Hunt. And we can't blame him for that.
No, not at all. And does he deserve a big contract? Has he earned a big contract? Absolutely, but the problem is in Cleveland, Nick Chubb. And so he kind of has to take the back seat. He's the sidekick. Not really a sidekick because he is a dynamic duo type. I guess that's a better way to put it instead of a sidekick. He's definitely not a sidekick.
Yeah, no, not a sidekick, just not clear-cut number one.
Yeah. Sidekick was a bad example. Because I like Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb from Willoughby, Ohio guy. Absolutely love him. But, so that's I said Nick Chubb, I meant Kareem Hunt. But, obviously, I think everybody knows Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to get into Deshaun Watson?
Might as well. We've been waiting, huh?
Well, we've kind of been pushing it back for a while now. The last couple episodes, we were like, you know what? Nothing was really happening. We don't really want to get into it. But Sue Robinson finally handed down a 6-game suspension. In fact, she kind of even put an explanation for the 6 games, called his actions egregious, says that obviously everything that happened with Deshaun Watson, there is very, very, very good reason to believe that he is a terrible individual. But the precedent had been set by the NFL, and that 6 games is where the precedent for Deshaun Watson falls in. That obviously pissed off Roger Goodell, who's been calling for at least a year suspension pretty much since he became a Cleveland Brown. Immediately, the NFL appealed that. Even going so far as to say is that Goodell wants him out indefinitely. And I hate that more than anything, the indefinite suspension. Because essentially that means that he has to be out at least a year, and then Goodell gets to decide when he comes back. It's Roger Goodell. He's hot and cold all the time. He could tell us that Deshaun Watson's going to be ready to go week 1 next year, but you never know. And that's why the NFLPA has already appealed the appeal of the NFL.
So here's the thing about that whole mess. Roger Goodell, the only reason Roger Goodell brought Sue Robinson in was because she was a female, and he thought that she would be harsher on Deshaun Watson and give him the max punishment that he thinks Deshaun deserves. She looked at all the evidence. She looked at everything that was placed in front of her, right? Mm-hmm. No criminal charges, this, that, the lawsuits. She heard all the evidence. She sat there and went through everything and said, okay, he wasn't charged. There was, he settled with the alleged victims and all that. Okay. We can't give him a year suspension because essentially the law, the judicial system in America, and the law said criminally he did nothing wrong. We cannot charge him criminally.
Yeah.
So it's innocent until proven guilty. What Roger Goodell wants to do is guilty until proven innocent. So she was like, okay, everything we have here, everything that went on, what the way it's looked for the NFL, obviously he has a problem here. I don't think anybody's denying that. Because, I mean, however many massage therapists in that short amount of time.
Yeah,
nobody goes through that.
Yeah.
People don't even go through, weed dealers like that or anything. Circle back around to the beginning. But, yeah, so she was like, all right, 6-game suspension because this was such a public disaster, a PR mess
pretty much
for the NFL. So she was like, all right, 6 games. That's fair. He already didn't play a whole season. I know he wasn't suspended, but maybe she took that into account too. 23 games he did not play after this 6-game suspension. Fair enough. Well, Roger Goodell doesn't like that. So what does Roger Goodell do? He says, all right, I'll find a man to do it right. That's Roger Goodell saying that. That's not me. Roger Goodell doesn't think women are competent enough to come up with decisions, major decisions for the NFL. That's what Roger Goodell is telling not only America, but the world. So people should be a little iffy on that part. That was the first thing I thought as soon as he did that.
Well, especially since he picked her for those reasons.
Yeah.
Like, if she was just picked because of her judicial background, then okay. But she was specifically picked because of her gender and because he thought that she would throw the hammer down. The guy's name is Pete Harvey. You didn't mention it yet. My question is what happens if Pete says the same thing as Sue Robinson?
Does Roger Goodell just step in and just be like, I'm the commissioner? A year. Can he do that?
I have no clue if he can or not. And maybe that's on us for not knowing, but exactly, can he do that? If this second guy he hired as an outside arbitrator who basically Goodell says, I want to be hands off. I don't want to have to make this decision. I'll let you guys make the decision for me. If 2 people say only 6 games, how can Roger Goodell come back and just be like, you know what? Screw what they said, a year.
Right.
Indefinite.
Or does he just be like, hey, look, 2 people said 6 games. I put it into 2 separate judges' hands, and both of them said 6 games. So, look, that's what these, proven judges have said. These aren't, this isn't Trumbull County. This isn't Portage County. This isn't Lorain County. What was Sue Robinson on?
She was a DA for somewhere.
Yeah. Just these are actual judges. I'm not saying obviously that Portage County, these guys are not real judges. Let me rephrase that then. This isn't like, a middle school play where somebody's playing a judge, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that'll sound better. But you get the point I'm trying to make.
Exactly.
These guys are actual proven, have dealt with real issues and had to make real decisions. So I don't know. Does he just cut his losses there?
I mean, like you said, it'd kind of be a built-in cop-out for him, at least in terms of the public side of it. Because he really can just be like, look, 2 people said 6 games. I can't just keep hiring people to keep telling me 6 games. There's no criminal charges. 2 people said 6 games. Even Deshaun Watson said he'll sit out for the 6 games. Right. He said, I'll take it. I'll do it. Whatever. 6 games, I'm suspended. I'll sit out. How far does he take it? My biggest thing is, when does this decision happen? Because it's got to happen soon, because then they got to decide if they're going to court, and if Deshaun's going to push it back and push it back and push it back, kind of like Ezekiel Elliott did back in the day. I just hope it doesn't happen that way, because when it happened with Zeke, as a Cowboys fan, I'll tell you, that might have been the one time I've seen that team look like they were Super Bowl contenders, and Zeke's suspension coming at the end of the year derailed the hell out of that season.
Yeah, and that's it's better to lose at the beginning of the season,
yeah,
and win at the end than win at the beginning and lose at the end. I mean, it's just common knowledge.
I mean, if you think about it, they go 3-3 in 6 games, and Deshaun comes back and treads water and goes, 7-2, 8-1. That's a playoff team.
Yeah.
And it's not out of the realm of possibility that Deshaun can do that with this Cleveland Browns team. So I'm praying that Deshaun is done from week 1 to week 6, because he's at least done for 6 games. So let's hope it's week 1 to week 6 this year, because if not, it could drag on, and it could be week 13 to week 3 of next year, if that's how it works out. Or if the Browns go far in the playoffs, I guess those games would count too. But it's hard seeing them go deep in the playoffs if they make it, and then Deshaun is done for 3 games. It's going to be hard for Brissett to take over that team late in the year and give them a playoff run. But speaking of Brissett, it's time to talk Browns options. If he's out 6 games, or if he ends up being out the whole season. If he's out 6 games, what do the Browns do at quarterback?
I think they've made it blatantly obvious that Jacoby Brissett will start game 1 if this 6-game suspension. Obviously, if it sticks to 6 games, Jacoby Brissett will start the season, and I'm assuming they're going to have Josh Rosen at second, and then Dobbs at third.
You think Rosen's better than Dobbs?
Yeah, Rosen's played more.
I'm just glad we agree. I don't think Josh Dobbs is that good. But you hear a lot of people say that Dobbs is going to be the number 2, and I just don't see it. I think he was just brought in as a body. They brought him in as we can't bring Baker to camp. We better bring somebody.
Yeah, if anything, if Dobbs is smart, he would tell the NFL, hey, look, I'm going to stick around for this year, and then once USFL starts, I'm out the door.
Or he could,
because that's what he should do.
He could be off to NASA if he really wants to.
Right.
He can go be an astronaut.
Yeah, hey, why not? But yeah, it's going to be Brissett to start it off, and then I think the rest of the suspension, it's just going to be an arms race between Rosen and Brissett, but only if they don't make a trade and pick up your boy Jimmy G, who this theory has been thrown around every which way of bringing in Jimmy G and having him run the team if it goes past 6 games.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do they bring Jimmy G in at all if it stays at 6 games? Or does it have to be a full season for them to bring in Jimmy G? And the reason I say that is because you're not going to get Jimmy G to agree to come play here for 6 games and be like, well, when Deshaun comes back, I'll just sit and wait. The only way you get Jimmy G to come here, and I know you could trade for him and he has to come here anyways, but you always want your guy to be happy. The only way he's happy and he comes here is if he gets to play out this last year of his contract for the full year as the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback and earns himself some money elsewhere next year.
Yeah. That's why they haven't made any moves. I truly think they're waiting to see what happens, and then we'll toss in just some guys, maybe in next year's a pick next year or something like that.
This point,
maybe that's why they have Dobbs.
Yeah, they're gonna send Dobbs over to San Francisco to steal Trey Lance's job.
Well, I mean, no, obviously not. I'm just saying toss him in there with a couple other picks.
Yeah,
He's just something to be like, we gotta add. He's just a body, pretty much a body to fill, like just a body to fill up a roster spot.
pretty much.
Just a body to fill up a trade spot.
He's a guy that's gonna balance the salary cap pretty much.
Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, so if it's 6 games, they're sticking with Brissett and Rosen. Past that, look for Jimmy G to come to Cleveland. Either way, the least proven quarterback would be Rosen, right? Because Brissett's played or would it?
It'd be probably Dobbs and Rosen kind of tied because neither of them have really played regular season. Oh, well, I guess it'd be Dobbs because Rosen had that full first year in Arizona.
Yeah.
Dobbs, I mean, he's seen the field in preseason and stuff like that, or like quickly when everybody got hurt in Pittsburgh. But other than that, he hasn't done shit. So I would say it'd be Rosen. But Brissett's the only one that's played a couple full seasons. He did really well in he played a little bit for New England, did really well in Indianapolis, and then before Tua took over in Miami, Brissett was the guy there. And he kind of was a 500 guy. Brissett is absolutely the guy that I think they need to kind of just tread water while Deshaun Watson's gone for 6 games. But like if it's a year, they should look elsewhere.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anything else you have on the final quarter?
I don't believe so. So if you want to get into this day in sports history, I'm here for it.
Alrighty. Before I get into that, I'm going to address one thing, and I'm going to make it nice, simple, and sweet. So give me about a minute here or so, Brendan. Can we play a 30-second clip?
I want to tell him to stay out of massage parlors and do what we want in Cleveland, which is just make us great.
Deshaun, buddy, keep your nose to the grindstone, keep working, ignore the haters, block out the noise. Let's go, dog pound.
To leave all the rhetoric behind you, stay focused on the game.
Do what we brought you in for. Play quarterback and be good at it.
Yeah, just have a positive mindset and that he performs well during the season.
Fit in. You just do your job.
Well, I'm excited to see what he'll do at quarterback. That's all I got.
He is our quarterback, so we have to get behind him.
He's the guy the Browns went with, so he's the guy for me.
I'm hoping that they only give him like between 4 and 6 games, although my own personal feelings is he shouldn't get anything considering how the owners misbehave constantly.
All right. So this was from training camp last week. 2 weeks ago, maybe. That clip is from training camp. Cleveland.com asked multiple fans around training camp 5 to 6 questions each to answer. So they come up to me and Ian. We're standing there like, hey, I'm so-and-so from Cleveland.com. You guys have a second to answer a few Browns questions. Yeah, cool.
Of course.
So they... What's up?
I said, of course. Of course I'll answer a few questions about it.
Oh, yeah. No, duh, of course, yeah. So they're asking us these questions, and me and Ian are answering them. And they're asking us, like, if the suspension happens, what will the Browns need to be above 500, or what do they need to win? And I said, the run game and the secondary need to come in. Everything else seems to be good. The run game needs to be strong like it is. That's pretty much what I meant.
Yeah.
The run game is the number one factor to keeping the Browns up. And some other questions, and then the question they used and asked us was, if Deshaun Watson walked up to you right now and asked you advice on this situation and how to handle it, So that's how they put this question in front of us. And so, everybody was like, don't get your dick jerked off in massage parlors. And I was like, so Ian made a joke like that. And so they asked me, and I said, in my head, I was like, all right, I can be funny, or I can be honest. And if, a 6'5", 280-pound man walked up to me, just towering over me,
right?
NFL football player who trains almost every single day of the year and has been hit by the biggest guys in the NFL, comes up and asks me, hey, man, what advice you got? What should I do with this? No doy, I'm going to say, keep your nose to the grindstone, block out ignore the haters, block out the noise, go dog pound, keep working. Of course I'm going to say that. I'm not going to lie to you, Cleveland. That's not me. I'm going to tell you the truth just like I did on Cleveland.com and just like I would to Deshaun Watson, buddy. So keep your nose to the grindstone, ignore the haters, block out the noise, and win some goddamn games. Like I said on Cleveland.com. People on those comments were these trash ball fans. They don't have any morals. These scumbags. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah. You would say that to that 6'5", 280-pound NFL quarterback.
I dare
you would call him a fucking piece of shit to his face. Yeah, right, you goddamn loser. Shut up and stay behind your keyboard. Get the fuck out of here. That's an NFL quarterback who would kick your ass up and down the goddamn street. You would not say that. So don't you lie to yourself and lie to your friends and all the people that'll see it. Quit trying to virtue signal over. Don't think girls are going to come talk to you because you said online that you would tell Deshaun Watson to go screw himself. Get out of here. At least I was being honest. I told him exactly what I would tell him straight to his face, except I kept out the, hey, you want to come on any given podcast and discuss it?
Right.
That's the only thing I left out there. But everybody else, it's like, these guys have no morals. They're pieces of trash. All they care about is sports and blah, blah, blah. No, I said what I said because that's what I would say to that grown-ass man.
Or did you just accept reality, like you said, a grown-ass man that would smack you around? Or just the fact that this guy is going to be the Cleveland Browns quarterback at some point. He's here for 5 years. They can't suspend him for 5 years unless Goodell basically says he's done. Indefinite, you're done. They give him a Pete Rose type suspension.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, everybody's a lot safer behind their keyboard, behind their screen, sitting in their locked house with their ring, on their door, watching their house constantly with their alarm system. So nobody,
They got the doorbell so their phone rings every time a leaf blows by.
Right, yeah, and they got 911 on speed dial and stuff, so they have zero confrontation. They got a lawyer on retainer and all that, and they're ready to go full Karen anywhere in case anybody says anything to them.
At least you're honest, man, because, I'm a big dude, and I'm telling you, I ain't saying that shit. I ain't saying shit to him. Like you said, 6'8", 280 pounds. He'd probably smack me around too.
I think he's like 6'5" or 6'6". I think. Yeah, but did I say 6'8"? I meant like 6'6".
Either way, man. What's a couple inches when it's still a foot taller than both of us?
Well, apparently he's 6'2", according to Google.
So he's only got me by like 4 inches, but he's still a super athlete.
But they have Baker is 6'1" listed on here, and Lamar Jackson is 6'2". But they have Cam as 6'5", and they have Russ at 5'11". The true deciding factor is they have Jacoby Brissett at 6'4". I don't know. Either way, he's bigger than me. He's bigger than my 5'10", 5'11" frame, 5'11" on a good day. So, of course, I'm going to say that. I mean, it's just a simple fact.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll talk all the smack I want on a podcast because it's a podcast. This is entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it to you in real life. That's absurd. That's bananas.
Right.
That saying something like that to a man like that in real life and not expecting any consequences or anything, you should be thrown away in the loony bin because you are clearly mentally insane. You are a danger not only to yourself, but to society because you are talking crazy and thinking crazy.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, so to get to this day in sports history, because this is a very long podcast.
Yeah.
This day, what are we at? An hour 30?
Oh, pretty damn close, yeah.
All right. This day in sports history, August 10th. Ooh, I just went. Whew, got a little worked up there. Hey, I just wanted to. I'm not justifying myself. I'm not apologizing. I'm not explaining anything. I'm just telling the people that were sitting there saying this scumbag, blah blah blah. No, I'm just telling them the facts. I was being honest.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Exactly.
So this day in sports history, August 10th, 1981. Pete Rose, yes, that Pete Rose hits his 3,631st career hit, breaking Stan the Man Musical's career hit record. Let me tell you what, Pete Rose, one of the greatest baseball players out there, just off of pure heart and hustle. Look, did he end Ray Fosse's career at the All-Star game? Yeah. Did he plow him for no reason at the plate? Yeah, it's an All-Star game. Is he a douche for that? Duh. Did he do douchey things? No doy. He's a professional baseball player that everybody loved. I don't know all the facts about it, but let me tell you what, the man could hit. Let me tell you what, I'm not justifying anything that happened extracurricular with Pete Rose. I'm just telling you the man could hit and the man could play baseball and the man could Charlie hustle down the field, down the baseline. That's all I'm saying. And he belongs in the Hall of Fame, not as a coach, but as a player. That's all I'm going to say about him.
To this day, still the biggest travesty in all of sports is that Pete Rose isn't a Hall of Fame baseball player. Like you said, maybe he shouldn't be in there as a manager because of everything that happened. But as a baseball player, Pete Rose to this day might be one of the best there ever fucking was.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. And the fact that he wasn't allowed in because of gambling when he was a manager, but he was betting on his team. He was betting on the Reds to win. He wasn't shaving points. He was telling these guys, look, you better go out there and hit the goddamn ball and score some runs. I got $15,000 riding on you boys. So get out there and bust your ass and don't lose this money for me.
It's a hell of a motivation tactic, right?
Right. It's like, hey, either I play good or I'm going to get cut or my ass kicked in the locker room because I just lost coach $15K.
All right. Yeah. Hell of a motivation tactic. I get it. But essentially, it's pretty much like me and you playing one-on-one basketball, and then I get suspended because I look at you and be like, before we play this, I bet you $100 I win.
Right. I don't know. It's pretty wild. Just a kind of a strange thing. Who knows? But let me tell you what. Fantastic baseball player. That's as far as I'm going to put it. That's all I'm saying. The guy could play baseball.
Sounds good. We will go ahead and end it on that. Where can they follow you, Ethan?
You can follow me on Twitter at ETH Simpson, CGOD. You can follow me on Instagram at ETH Simpson. You can follow my main man, Brendan, at
BWardCLE on Twitter, B.Ward52 on Instagram. Do not forget to follow the podcast. Twitter is at Any Given Podcast. or it's at Podcast Given. Instagram is at Any Given Podcast. Facebook.com/Any Given Podcast. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Any Given Podcast. We're going to start getting this out consistently, weekly. Ethan sounds like he's got something to say, so I'm going to go ahead and end my side and send it off to him.
For you Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen whatever's out there right now, or if you're just like a 45-year-old, 50-year-old person still trying to cling on to whatever was your youth. That's just kidding. Just joking, guys. But if you do have a TikTok and you're doing those weird dances, whatever, you want to take a break from that phony, unoriginal stuff, you can follow the podcast TikTok at Any Given Podcast. Yes, that's TikTok on the TikTok app, TikTok.com, at Any Given Podcast. I don't have a personal one because I said I would never make a personal one, but I will make one for the podcast because that's what you got to do to get your brand and your podcast out there. That's at Any Given Podcast on TikTok, the TikTok app, the TikTok website, TikTok on the clock, DJ blowing speakers out. I don't know. But have a good night, everybody. God bless. Stay blessed.